Mark Hanna from Real Time Fantasy Sports joining us. How are your legs holding up, man? You were doing laps around that draft table last night.
Oh, yeah. My legs are doing okay. Before that, I took my daughter shopping all over New York, so that was a lot of work.
Was that your daughter behind you, like, just following her dad around on her cell phone, like,
yes.
angry, like, why are you making me do this here in this fantasy room?
I think she enjoys it.
Really?
She's not quite sure what it's all about, but she finally gets to figure out what her dad does sometimes, and she realizes the big geek that I am.
Well, it's because you were walking around with it was like an iPad, right? And you were punching all the selections into the draft last night. And she's like behind you, just like, I hate my dad on her cell phone.
No, she was sort of amazed that I'd put in the pick, and then she turned around on the big board. And imagine, hey, it showed up there. How did that work? Well, it's called the internet.
You know what's amazing is fantasy football is coming around the corner, of course, from Real Time Fantasy Sports. And a lot of people try to get away from the ESPNs and the Yahoos because they're looking for specialization in their leagues. Is that something that they can get from Real Time Fantasy Sports?
Oh, yeah. The two biggest things that we offer that I think most of our competitors cannot, specialization. If you have a quirky rule, pretty good chance that we could cover it, no problem. The second thing, of course, is customer support. We believe in our software is half our product and our customer support's the other half. And I think we are unparalleled. We have great staff that know what they're doing. You call up, you have a question, they will answer it. They're not just a voice. They know fantasy. They know exactly what you're asking them. And if you have a rule problem or you think something's wrong, they'll answer it right away.
Where are you guys centered out of? In case people are watching or listening, maybe want to get a job with you guys, if they like, because it's cool. You're not just like outsourcing a customer service.
No,
everything's
in-house.
Yeah, people you hire know. It's people who enjoy fantasy.
Yeah, we're in St. Louis.
All right.
Which is
the heart of fantasy, man.
The mecca of fantasy sports. There used to be a lot more fantasy companies, but there still are some in St. Louis. Everybody that works for us is in-house. I know a lot of them personally, obviously a smaller company, but they're the best staff, the best engineers you can imagine. In fact, I've stolen an engineer or two from other companies that I used to work for. Because they're the best. The best of the best.
Dude, I got to tell you, all the expert drafts we do, if you follow the drafts on SiriusXM, it's always rtsports.com. It's just a beautiful, presentation. It looks like the draft boards, but you don't actually have to find the guy's name and do the sticker. This is going to be a weird question, but how do you pick the colors that correspond to the positions?
To be honest, we've looked at other draft boards.
All right, cool. All right.
We used to have our own color scheme, and people would immediately say, wait a minute, no, that's not right. The defenses aren't blue. They should be brown. Or, quarterbacks, we all know that quarterbacks are blue. Why are you making them yellow? So, okay, fine. Okay, we'll make whatever color you want it to be, and pretty much the consensus is, what everybody else has. So we're not original in that. I think we're original in the way we present it.
Well, whatever. It still looks pretty.
Thank you. Thank you. It does look good. When it's all done, it's all filled up. It looks great, especially when I'm done putting in the entries.
You know what's amazing is we have a ton of fantasy football expert leagues, but yet I don't know of a predominant one that has any IDP leagues. How many leagues do you have IDPs? Do you see a growing trend? Because to me, it's been stagnant, and I'm surprised.
It is stagnant. I'd say about 10 to 20%, somewhere in there. If you're an IDP person, you're hardcore, and you're never going to go back. I would like to see it grow. I am not an IDP person, but not because I don't like it. I like it a lot. It's just too much for me. But it's been stagnant. It's not going to probably grow too much more. But I respect the people that do it because they know their stuff.
Mark, how about the we were talking about this earlier on the Sirius show, the PPR versus non-PPR divide. Are you seeing just PPR shoot up through the roof to the point where it's way the majority now? Or
yes. Not way the majority, but it's shooting up. I think it's predicated on the fact that a lot of the money leagues, a lot of the pay-to-play games, they have to have PPR. So it's so much more important. And so it's been integrated into the regular commissioner leagues as well. Our league ourselves, we switched over to PPR, and it makes sense. And, of course, that changes your strategy.
Yeah.
What kind of running back do you want that's going to catch passes versus someone that's just going to score touchdowns? But I like it. I think that's the way the industry is going.
It's interesting because I think it's changed where we used to have a running back in the first round. And I don't care what the fantasy sport is. When you have a first-round pick, you're picking that based on predictability. And I think when we see running backs getting injured, getting older, and we see the NFL changing the passing rules, I think you have greater predictability right now at top flight wide receivers than you do the running back position, and thus we're seeing more and more guys being picked in the first round at wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think that, first of all, that's an excellent point. Secondly,
you don't have to kiss up just because he's hosting the show.
Believe me, I wouldn't.
It's all right.
No, secondly, though, it goes back to the fact that this still is a game of skill. I mean, you talk about predictability, that's true, but you have to be quick on your feet. You know, in one of our contest leagues, someone drafted DeMarco Murray first overall, and everyone thought he was crazy, and look what happened. But it's not just that. It's who you pick up in free agencies, you know, who is getting old and getting hurt, or in the doghouse or whatever. You know, that to me is what makes or breaks these leagues is, yeah, you know the predictable ones, but then something's going to happen that makes that sleeper come out.
Mark, we got to hit a break. We're coming up against, the 30 marker already, man.
We're on fire.
We've been at this for like 5 hours, yeah. Mark Hanna.
Feels like 2 days to me.
You know what? We've watched the sun rise and set from the window. We watched the M&M building light up and go dark again.
It's actually turned into the Reese's Pieces building.
Yeah, right. It's been broken down and resold. Mark Hanna from Real Time Fantasy Sports, rtsports.com. It really is like a beautiful, smooth machine. It's cool seeing it all the time on the projection boards in these expert leagues.
Thank you.
More people should get the hang of it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks for joining us. Fantasy Sports Trade Association 2015 coverage continues on the Fantasy Sports Network after this.